So you have Kenneth Branagh directing the film and acting in it, which I'll talk about in a second. Letitia Wright, Gal Gadot, about a story in Egypt, may turn out pretty good. Well, let's talk about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my movie review for Death on the Nile. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me that thumbs up and consider subscribing. So now we have Death of the Nile. This is a reboot of the original 1978 film, which I have not seen. I spoke of Kenneth Branagh in the intro of this video. This is what the gentleman looks like right here. He is an actor in this film, one of the mains, and also the director of this movie. He's directed a ton of things. I don't know if I'm more of a fan of his acting or directing, but when I look at his filmography, I mean, you can see it here. He's Death of the Nile, Belfast, which everybody is talking about. I heard Artemis Fowl was horrible though. However, Cinderella, that came out in 2015, I really did enjoy that film right there. And of course, he was in the Phase 1 MCU film of Thor. And if you look at his acting credits, he has 74. And so he's done a lot. He's been a part of a lot. And he is one of the reasons why I had semi-interest in this film. Now, this is also a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express that came out in 2017. I did see this in theaters, but guys, be honest with you, I fell asleep. So I don't remember if this was good or bad. But what really got me into this film was Letitia Wright. I remember seeing the trailer initially and I was like, okay, I'll probably just let this one slide by without checking it out. But then I saw like another TV spot or something like that. I saw Letitia Wright in it, had an opportunity to see the film. And I was like, hey, we're going to go into this and hopefully we can have a good time. Even though my expectations are low, hey, I'm here for it. And again, you can't forget Gal Gadot, aka Wonder Woman. So let's do this. But before we do this, let me tell you exactly what it's all about. While on vacation on the Nile, Hercule Poirot must investigate the murder of a young heiress. And to my understanding, this is based on a series of novels, which I have not read. Again, this is considered the sequel to the Murder on the Orient Express. If you did see that movie and liked it, please let me know what you thought down below in the comment section. And this film is coming in at about 2 hours and 7 minutes. And of course, if you take out the credits, it's going to clock in right at about 2 hours. That's very interesting because while you had the first half, which is just trying to set up the characters and introduce the location for you, I found myself not really caring for the first half of the film, but caring much more for the second half. The first half just wasn't believable to me. And the reason why I say this is the title itself, Death on the Nile River in Egypt. Of course, they're not on location, which is possible, but the illusion they tried to create to convince you of that failed tremendously. I don't know if it was green or blue screen, but it just didn't work. When you have characters on the forefront, but it's obvious as day that everything behind them is CGI or some type of insert, it just doesn't come across real or convincing, and it stands out like a sore thumb. And the thing is, it didn't just happen once, it happened multiple times in the film. And when that's repeated, it's jarring and it clocks you out when you're trying to immerse yourself in the environment. So that's just not a good thing right there when you're trying to entertain an audience member. And then when you get to the characters, I mean, they're okay. A lot of them have the stick stuck up their butt syndrome. I mean, they're just walking around, and that can come across kind of annoying. But you have Gal Gadot's character, Lynette Ridgway, who is supposed to be a protagonist, one of the leads. She is absolutely despicable. There's no way in the world that you will want to get behind her and root for her as somebody to win in the end. I mean, there's just no excuse for her mindset. And I didn't like her at all. She was nice to look at, but other than that, she was horrible. The two characters that did everything for me in this film was Letitia Wright, the people that I wanted to see in the first place, and also Sophie Okonedo. I've never heard of her before, but man, they were amazing in this movie. I loved everything about them. Their characters are playing Rosalie and Salome Otterborn. And to be honest with you, the best characters in this film were all the black and brown people. There's another gentleman that I cannot find when I try to look him up, but he stood out too. Everybody else, like I said, were just okay. Besides Gal Gadot, she was horrible. Now, of course, I spoke of Gal Gadot as Lynette as one of the main leads, but I have to talk about the director, Kenneth Branagh himself, because he is one of the main cast members too. The investigator, the genius, the man is going to figure out the puzzle as Hercule Poirot. I liked him too. I don't really understand what's going on with his mustache. I feel like I'm outside of an inside joke, but it kind of worked for comedy in this film. I don't necessarily know how things related to the intro of this movie, trying to give some of its backstory. I kind of wish that was a bit fleshed out more, but it worked for what it was. I talked about how I didn't like the first half of the movie, but the second half is when things started to shine. That's when the murder happened and the investigation commenced. And that's where I was at the edge of my seat, rubbing my chin, wondering who in the world committed this murder. And as Hercule is going around investigating everybody on the boat, trying to piece the puzzle together, that is really what grabbed my attention and kept me engaged. I loved all of that. Just the way they told the story and then retell it from a different perspective, sometime in color, and I maybe even believe in black and white. Please forgive me if my memory is slipping me right now. But it was nice the way they slowed things down and narrated over certain scenes, cutting in, transitioning back and forth. It was very seamless and just a great way to tell the story. And like I said, keep the audience members' attention, because you have to pay attention to every detail if you want to get the best out of the revelation at the end when the true killer is revealed. And when the killer is revealed, I said, my goodness gracious, I had no idea that was a killer. That's possibly one of the last persons I would have guessed, and I did not see that coming. And it's just really neat to where this character, Hercule, is able to put together the details that was presented to you throughout the entire film, but he's able to put it together and I'm not. Maybe you're smarter than me and you can figure it out, but I didn't, and that made it very, very entertaining. So, should you see this film? Well, that's entirely up to you. I'm not going to tell you whether you should or not. But I will say, if you're a fan of Kenneth Branagh, Gal Gadot, Letitia Wright, or anybody else that I listed in this review, go for it. Go for it. And I will give my rating for this at the very end. But guys, that is just my opinion. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Help me reach 35,000 subscribers. If I had to rate Death on the Nile out of a 1 out of 10, I would give this film a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, a 6.5 out of 10. But guys, again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.